How spirit communicates through animals. Now, this can be crossed over loved ones, spirit, just in general, your guides giving you signs, whatever works for you. But I'm going to share with you a couple experiences that I've had that were definitely messages from a crossed over loved one, either my mom or just spirit in general. So, the big one that really stands out to me was right after the first Mother's Day after losing my mom. I remember I got up early and I went out back in my house and I had this custom deck that I put in, and I was just sitting on the patio furniture and I was reading a book. And the next thing I know, I don't know if you've ever been really close to a hummingbird, but they give off, it's like a bumblebee on steroids, right? So I'm reading my book, and the next thing I hear this like bzzz, like flapping noise, right? I'm like, what the heck? It was really loud. And so I close my book, I sit back, and I look up, and literally, like, probably just out of arm's distance, there's this green hummingbird hovering, staring right at me. And, even though I was reading my book, I was feeling a lot of grief from the loss of my mom. So the fact this was happening on Mother's Day, pretty much as I was thinking about my mom, that was my mom's way of saying, I'm with you still in spirit. Another time spirit used an insect to communicate with me was, after losing my mom, I was in a extremely depressed state. And back then, there was times where it was so hard to get out of a chair. It would take me sometimes an hour, sometimes 2 hours just to muster up the energy. And I remember sitting in my garage in this chair in this state where I just felt like I didn't have the energy to move. And, at the time, I was in my detached garage and I had one car to my right and then the rest was open because it was like my art. I had my booth and a bunch of shit, right? And so that was my meditation and art area. I was sitting there and I was just kind of zoning off, not really looking at anything, And something caught my eye and I kind of came back to, and I saw this centipede going from my art area underneath my car. And this was shortly after I first went through this spiritual awakening. And so I was into, looking up everything I saw as a totem, as a sign, right? So I seen the centipede go across, so I Googled, I was like, what is the totem meaning of a centipede? And it said something along the lines of, with its many legs, it can help carry you through life, through your challenging times. And so I decided to connect with the spirit of the centipede, and I was like, you know, I had a way with words when I was talking back then, but I was like, to the spirit of the centipede, if this isn't just a bunch of bullshit, give me some kind of proof, right? And the next thing I know, the centipede had disappeared underneath my car. And then when I finished saying that, this thing makes a beeline straight from underneath my car. And right in front of me, I had a log, candles on it. Right in front of me, about a foot away, this centipede goes right up to the log, walks right around it, and literally stopped an inch away from my foot. Stayed there for about 3 to 5 seconds, turned around and went back underneath my car, and I was like, holy shit. That really showed me that even insects deserve respect and are on their own journey. I looked at things much differently after that experience. But one last experience that I had that I'll share with you, I've had many, but I'll share one more with you, was this time I was driving. I used to go for a walk through this park down by the ocean a lot, especially after my divorce. And I was driving down there one time, and I came across two women walking their horses. But the one horse was going crazy, like jumping up, and she was like struggling to calm it down and everything, right? And so I stopped my car right beside them. I don't know why. Not really, I'm kind of fucking afraid of horses myself, but I felt guided to stop, so I stopped, right? And I rolled my window down, and she's like, "Oh, we're fine, we're fine. The horse is just freaking out because someone dumped garbage into the ditch there. Like there was a bunch of garbage bags where they were about to walk, right?" And I looked over at this horse and I connected with its eyes. And this is when the horse was like up in the air. And I could see, well, first I felt the horse's fear, but then it showed me that it wasn't the actual garbage bags that were placed in the path that were freaking the horse out. It was actually the negative energy that was left over because the individuals that were doing it knew it was bad, and they were giving off that energy. And this horse was tapped in and could sense this black cloud of energy and didn't want to walk through it. So there's many ways that spirit communicates through animals, so pay attention. Over 63,000 followers on TikTok. Greatly appreciate the support. Love to see you over at YouTube at Saved by an Angel, Instagram at AshSam888. That's all I got. Smash the like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.